Hey guys, my name is Ali and I'm a data and analytics consultant. In this video, I'm going to walk you guys through 5 common mistakes that companies make when implementing Power BI, and more importantly, how you can avoid them. Let's start with the first one. Um, the number one is that you don't really have a strategy or goals. You don't really know where you are going with this implementation. You don't really know where to start, and why are we doing this? Of course, you know that we want to get some data, we want to visualize it, we want to present it, that but still you need a strategy, you need a goal, you need something to tell you what do we do at what time, what do we prioritize when, and when we get there, what is that goal, and how do we measure and know that we are there? How do we confirm that that's where we are now? So the starting point is to ask yourself, what decisions should this report support, and what KPIs are very important. So you want to ask that before you get into Power BI. If you are a manager, you should know and be able to communicate it. If you're a data analyst, you should know this so that you know why you're collecting the data and creating the dashboard that you're creating. If you're a BI developer transforming data, you should know this is what this is the purpose that I'm structuring the data for, to support or enable more analytical capabilities around. So I've written here what decisions should this support, what KPIs matter the most, what KPIs are we going to derive and follow when we get this data shared. And some symptoms is that you have dashboard that looks super nice, but you don't really know what they're supposed to be used for, or that's not very aligned, or you're a little bit confused when you know that the dashboard that you have made is what is needed to be able to support some important decisions, and you should know that quite good. And if you don't know right away, it will come with time, but it should be confirmed or in some way as the project goes. If you do that through talking to stakeholders, to the users, or just by measuring adoption, that's different ways of doing it, but you should be able to confirm when this is a successful Power BI delivery or implementation. So start with some clear business goals. Start with some clear business questions. Define KPIs that are aligned with strategic goals, and then build reporting around decision-making needs, and not just reports. To be able to say that you have reports is important. So this is number one, very often and frequent. I've seen this at different levels, and it's something that you start out with, but it can also be something that gets forgotten along the way. So it's something to be able to come back to and remind yourself. The second mistake is that data quality and the structure of your data isn't always good enough. And Power BI can't fix broken or unclean data. Garbage in, garbage out, very famous saying. But it's something that you need to continuously work on and revise and try to think about. So it can end up being giving you challenges like inconsistent metrics across reports, different teams using different data sources because you don't have one, the structure to have it come from one place, and you can get low trust in reports. So sometimes you have to work in your system where you are getting the data from. Sometimes you have to work on how you're transforming it, and sometimes you have to be quite transparent and open about how you're presenting it. Different versions of this mistake, but it is something that I also see frequently, and something that's very important to address continuously, and not just in the beginning or at the end. It's something to try and think about. So try to clean and transform the data before you visualize it. That should be a given. That's why we have the transformation step in the ETL, extract, transform, load. Define common business logic for important KPI, sales, revenue, churn, clicks, whatever it is. You need some common business definitions of that. Establish a single source of truth. And that means that there's one place where the data flows from. It is governed, it's being confirmed. Whether that happens on data platform level, semantic model, where it happens, there needs to be some sort of place where the data flows through, where the data quality and the structure gets um, it gets what is the right word that I'm looking for? It gets looked into um, and, uh, and verified that it holds the quality that it needs when you pass data on to other data products. Um, Mistake number 3 is no governance or ownership. And what I mean by that is that things are just flowing a little bit too easily and you don't really know who owns what. And again, this is on different levels. It can be in the platform. There should be technical resources that has access to what they need and they have ownership of data models and processes. It can be on business side where you need owners of domains or data semantic models and the ones that verify KPIs and things that happens more on business logic side. But again, a mistake that goes, it comes back often because you don't have enough people involved or it hasn't been you haven't communicated enough to establish the governance and ownership and have that as part of the project. And it comes back to that these tools have a lot of flexibility. Like I've written here, self-service is powerful, but without structure it could create somewhat of a chaos. So you need to really think about governance and ownership. Very, very important. You don't want to get into a place where you have multiple versions of the same report. You don't know who is the owner of the sales reporting or the retail reporting or the marketing reporting. It should be quite clear who it is that owns that. And you can end up having what I call shadow data warehousing or shadow BI in different departments, which means that different departments have different capable individuals that can get data out in some way or shape, create reports in some way or shape, but it isn't centralized. It isn't clear who owns it. It isn't governed to create unity on different levels. So create some clear roles. Who creates the reports, who validates them, who consumes them. Control the access to data and content in terms of dashboards and other data products. Make sure that it's not open for everyone. Not everyone should see everything, and make sure that is governed. And then where it is, try to have standards, naming conventions, different type of standardization that you can. And that is something that you will see in the platform. You will see in the data products. You will see it in training. The more you can standardize and align this, the better governance and processes and clear ownership you'll be able to get. Number 4 is one that also happens quite a bit, and that is overcomplicated reports and data models. And I've written here that more visuals doesn't necessarily equate to more value, which is very true. It's very good to start simple, both on the report side and the model side, so that it doesn't become too much for the ones that are going to consume it. It doesn't become too much to maintain in the beginning. So typical symptoms, dashboards with loads of charts and filters becomes overwhelming, and the users doesn't know what to focus on. On the back end, you can have slower performance due to bloated data models where you have too much data that isn't being used for anything, but it can be somewhat of give an impression of a somewhat impressive data model because there's lots of data in there. So I've written focus on 1 to 2 KPIs per page. Use clear titles, labels, and tooltips. Don't remove unnecessary visuals and filters, and try to build with the end user in mind. And that should be the visual part should then be reflected into the data model, which means that you fetch the data that you need for what you're going to look at, preferably at the detail level that you need it, and then you'll get much better user experience, much better reports, much leaner reports, much easier to maintain, and a lot more fun to work in Power BI in that way. And then, no training or adoption, classical mistake. You've made the report, you passed it on, now it's out there, it's up to them to use it. It's not that simple. And I've written here, Power BI is only valuable if people actually use it. And I focused a bit on Power BI in this video, but This goes for all types of data products. If they don't know how to use it, if they haven't been trained, and there isn't continuously support for that, then you won't get the adoption that you probably want. So typical signs: low engagement with the reports. Users are exporting it to other places because they really just want the raw data. They don't really want to work in the data product that you delivered. They don't really understand how to work in the report. And these are things that you can see either through joining in on meetings or asking them, trying to do training and adoption and make it a bit interactive, and just see how it goes. It will quite quickly give you an idea of where is the adoption and at what level have they been trained. So what have I suggested here? Provide role-specific training. Some people just need to learn how to navigate. Some people need to learn how to build. Some people need to learn how to prepare data for it. Different levels for different roles. Try and specialize, offer it, and then in time you will see more and more people get into it. Share some good examples of how reports are being used. I really believe in pushing information about data and analytics to the company so that it becomes something that isn't only being delivered, but it's part of the company. And so it's important to hear about those good use cases and share that. And I've written create internal Power BI champions or communities of practice. And I think that's also very important to lift out people that are using it and really adopting it and letting them talk about how they're using it and what is the value that they are getting out of it. So training and adoption is also a very big part of this. So then to recap, these are the 5 mistakes that you don't want to fall into. That is, you don't have a clear strategy. You don't really know where you're going with this. You just know that you really want it. Take a step back and spend some time on that. Poor data quality. It speaks for itself, but try and think about how can we improve this. If that means changing some fields in your system, fewer options to register on, align data fields or values across departments or countries, whatever that is, continuously work on that. Governance, make sure that you know what people have access to at what level and why. If it's in the platform, on the data team, or if it's on the business side in terms of what they can use and see, it's also very important. Keep it simple. Yes, you can make complicated reports, but start simple and turn up the complicated parts in the report as adoption increases and as the usage increases, because that's when they are ready to absorb the complicated parts. And at last, make sure you have a plan for how you're going to get people to use it, because without the adoption, it really just becomes some great fancy reports out there that isn't really driving the business value and answering the questions that you wanted to do. Thank you guys for watching. If you want to dive deeper and understand more about this, then I have written a full article that expands on each of these mistakes with examples and practical solutions. And if you want to learn more about Power BI, Microsoft Fabric, data strategy, or project delivery, then make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.